In journalism, we like conflict. Conflict means instant news value, which entices readers and engages the audience. When you're writing opinions and editorials, your topic will always have more than one point of view. Instant conflict, instant gold. As Quintilian said, every question is based on assertion by one party and denial by another. But beyond merely arguing, we write, hopefully, to see changes, not just to win the fight. How do we create a piece that contains fruitful arguments? How can we make a dent in the rhetoric surrounding issues like immigration, abortion, and the death penalty that have reached a stalemate? One method, practiced by great orators since the time before Plato and Aristotle, focuses on the places where two or more opposing forces come together in agreement before they diverge. The method is called Stasis Theory. The term stasis, or stasis, comes from the Latin word status, which itself comes from a Greek word meaning a stand. A point of stasis is the place where you take a stand. But this isn't the type of stand where you plant your feet and refuse to be moved. Quite the opposite. It's the place where you and your opponent can agree to disagree. Only then can you productively begin to discuss the issue at hand. Why is it that some issues are discussed often but never resolved? Possibly, it's because the various parties discussing them are not in stasis. It's not that they disagree about the issue. The problem is that they aren't even talking about the same issue. Take abortion, for example. One side sees the matter as the right to choose what happens to women's bodies. The other side sees the issue as a moral one of murder. As long as the two sides are talking about different things, they will never reach stasis, and the argument will never be resolved. When creating arguments for an editorial, it's critical that you establish the points of stasis with your audience. What can we all agree about? On what points do we disagree? The process of thinking through issues of stasis takes time and can be tedious, but the result is an argument made all the more powerful because it gets at the heart of the issue at hand, ignoring all the noise that can drown it out. So, how do we find stasis and argue about real issues? The process involves a fairly simple but potentially rich series of 4 questions. The first question to ask when thinking through an argument is that of conjecture. Does X exist? Did X happen? In the case of the stalemate on abortion, there is no point of stasis here. Both sides would concur that pregnancies are voluntarily aborted. Abortion does exist. Because both sides can agree on the question of conjecture, it's possible to move on to the next question. If it exists, what is it? In this question, we're determining what kind of thing or event X is. This is a question that raises many points of stasis in the abortion issue. Some questions that might be asked include, does abortion fit the definition of murder? What is the definition of murder? Is a fetus alive? At what point does a fetus become human? Etc. Until both sides can agree on the meaning of these terms, the discussion of abortion is stuck in the question of definition. It is impossible to move on. And this is pretty much where the United States is mired on the issue of abortion. One side insists that it's an event where an innocent party is brutally murdered. The other side maintains that the procedure is nothing more than removing non-sentient tissue. If, however, both sides agreed to the definition of the areas under dispute, it would be possible to move on to questions of quality. Some of these questions include, is it just? Is it right? Is it honorable? Is it good or is it bad? These are all simple questions of quality. It's possible to also ask comparable questions of quality as well, such as, is X better than Y? Is Z more just than W? Etc. What has happened with the issue of abortion in our country is that some people on either side of the discussion have moved on to the third stasis question of quality without resolving the second one of definition. A discussion of whether or not abortion is right, or when and if it is ever justified, can't be addressed until both sides agree on the definition of what it actually is. The final group of stasis questions are those of jurisdiction or policy. In this stage, we're concerned with what actions should be taken, how these actions will cause change, and if those changes will be for the better. In the abortion issue, these types of questions surround issues of whether abortion should be regulated, by whom it should be regulated, etc. One reason the issue of abortion is still so hotly contended is that questions of jurisdiction have been answered and policies have been put into place when the issues surrounding definition have still not been satisfactorily settled. It's easy to see how asking questions of stasis can yield rich material to be used as you craft your arguments in your editorial. The tradition of stasis comes out from the Sophists, ancient Greek thinkers who theorized about countervailing arguments, which they called dissoi logoi. The theory of dissoi logoi states that contradictions are inevitable. When we explore these contradictions and consider both sides of an issue, we will discover a deeper truth. Somewhat akin to playing the devil's advocate, dissoi logoi forces you to consider the arguments your opponent will make. Stasis theory uses dissoi logoi to not only find points of opposition, but points of agreement as well. Using stasis and dissoi logoi, the opinion writer can construct an argument that has the power to change minds, and from there see effective changes in policies which can even lead to a better world. And isn't this what we all want to do with our writing?